Hi friends, I'm Uma Shankar Pandey and this is the Dr. USB channel. Today I'll demystify the concept of confirmatory factor analysis with SPSS AMOS. So let us see CFA with AMOS from confusion to clarity in this video. Now everything in CFA boils down to this one latent variable. Something real but not directly observable. It could be intelligence, it could be credibility, it could be believability. Latent variable is measured by these items. So we measure it through the indicators, and these indicators are questions that you might be asking people, and they could be on a 5-point Likert scale. And these are the connections. These arrows say the construct explains these observed variables. So the latent factor is reflected in these three variables. There are these error terms. Now error here means unexplained variance. Each item has some errors. So each of these questions, item 1, item 2, item 3, these have error terms E1, E2, E3, which are not explained by the latent factor. They are the unexplained variance. Here it does not mean it's a mistake. Now you could see these figures beside the arrows from the latent factor to the item. They are known as factor loadings. What it basically means is that unit change in the latent factor causes these much changes in the items or the observed indicators. You can have more than one latent factor. For example, here we have satisfaction and trust, and they could be correlated. So we draw an arrow there, that's the covariance. So the constructs may be related. This is what the CFA model looks like. For today, we'll be working on the 17-item PTSD scale, and we are theorizing that these 17 items, they are explained by these three factors: re-experiencing, avoidance, and hyperarousal. Now we will try and replicate this model on AMOS, and we'll try and see whether the hypothesized model holds well with the data set that we have. I'll share the exact data set that I'll be using today. In an earlier video, I have demonstrated confirmatory factor analysis with Jamovi. I will be using the same data set. It's there on my website, and I'll provide you with a link where you can download that. So you just need to click on that link and it will download as a CSV file on your downloads folder. Now you have to import that CSV file into your SPSS program. And this is what it looks like. There are these 17 items on the PTSD scale, and we have about 199 responses to that. Now let me open the AMOS interface, and this is what it looks like. So this is the observed variables, the items that we saw. So we can just draw them separately just to show you. So this would be an observed variable. These are the unobserved variables, or also the latent factors. This is where we can draw the latent variables from. This is how we select one object at a time, all the objects, and this is how we deselect. This is what we'll be using to move or to duplicate objects. This is what we need to delete. So if I need to delete this, I'll have to use this. To rotate the indicators, and at times we might need to change the shapes, or we might need to move the parameter values. We'll be demonstrating most of these things. This is very important. This is analysis properties, and this is where we calculate the estimates. We'll be using this as well about preserving symmetry. So while we are drawing the diagram, I'll show you how it helps. So let me just delete it, and let's draw the figure that we have just seen before. So this is how you start drawing that, the latent variables. Now if you remember, we had 3 latent variables, and 2 of them had 5 indicators or 5 questions, and 1 of them, avoidance, had 7 items. So you click onto that. The first thing that you need to do is to just draw an oval kind of a thing, and then inside that latent variable selected, you click as many times as the number of indicators that you want. So since we have 5 indicators, I'll click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can see that this entire thing has been drawn here. So these are the indicators, the rectangles that you can see there, and these circles are the error terms that we have seen before. You can see here that this one of the factor loadings for the latent factor has already been set to 1, and there's a theoretical reason for that, because all these indicators, for example, are on Likert scales, but when we are drawing a latent factor, we have not specified the measurement units. Now once we set it to 1, we are specifying that this latent factor is also having the same measurement as this one. That means the Likert scale. Now we can rotate this. For that we just go here, rotate, rotate, rotate. This is what it looks like. Now with this move tool and this, so I'll select the move tool and I select this one also, preserve symmetries, and using that I can make it shorter. As you can see that I can bring it all together, or I can just drag it a bit here. I can name the latent indicator whatever it was. For that I'll have to right click and click onto object properties. Now in object properties I'll have this text, so I just write the variable name. So as you can see here, so now we have one of those factors and we have the 5 reflected indicators along with the error terms. I can select all the objects and duplicate it. What it does is that it provides me the exact same thing twice. So I will just drag this thing along with the symmetry movement tool and the symmetry tool, so that I can drag the entire thing together. This also. The second indicator, as you remember, had 7 items. So let me draw it again just to show you. So we'll just draw the latent factor, and now I'll click 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I'll go and rotate it. So this is what I have been able to do. I have rotated it. The same way I will now select this again. So you have to work on just ensuring that it all looks good on the screen. Similarly, I will write down the names here. So let me just go to object properties and rename it. So I'll name it as avoidance. This one I will rename it as hyper arousal. I think we are good to go. Now we need to work on plugins here. So if you can see on the top, there is plugin. The first thing that we do is we'll have to draw the covariances, and to draw covariances, firstly I'll have to select these latent factors one by one. Select this, and select this. Go to plugins here, draw covariances, and as you can see, the covariance has been drawn. Now these are the items. I haven't brought in the data here. For that I'll have to bring in the data files now, which is the most important thing. So I'll have to go and select the data files. I'll have to look at the file name. I'll open it here, and I can see these are the 199 out of 199 values are here. If I want to see that where are the data files, I can just go here and look at the variables in the data set. So I can see all the variables are here. Now comes the most important part. We'll have to drag these things. PTSD 1, as we know, is one of the indicators, so we'll just drag it here. Similarly, PTSD 2 here, PTSD 3 here, PTSD 4 here, PTSD 5 here. The first 5 items load on to re-experiencing. Then the 7 items next. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They load on to the second latent factor. Then the last 5, 13. I'm just clicking and dragging them here. 14, 15, 16, 17. So all the data is now here on the AMOS graphic. I can name these error terms by just going to object properties and exactly the same way as I named the latent factors. I can do that, or I can go for a shortcut and I will just click onto this plugin, name unobserved variables. The moment I click that, all these things are there. You know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So all these things, the error terms, are here on my AMOS graphic. Now we are good to go. For that, analysis to start. We'll go on to analysis properties. Now we'll have to just look at some of these items here for CFA. So the first one, maximum likelihood model, that's enough. In the output, I need the minimization history, I need the standard estimates, I might need the squared multiple correlations. I'll try and explain that. Modification indices, probably that is enough. So I guess we are good to go, and for that we'll have to click on to calculate estimates, keeping our fingers crossed that it works. Okay, it says that it contains an invalid character, so the dash doesn't work. So let us change here, re-experiencing, remove the dash. Now let's start calculating the estimate again. Yeah, voila, minimum was achieved. Now this is what you want to look at, whether this minimum was achieved at or not. And for that you'll have to go to view text. Once you go to view text, AMOS will open up the output here. So the minimum was achieved, this is the chi-square value, this is the degrees of freedom, and we have to look at the estimates. So these are the regression weights. We'll have a look at that in a moment's time. These are the model fit figures that we get, the most important things here. So if we see the model fit figures here, initially they are not what they should be. The RMR, the GFI, they are all below 0.9. So I'll have to work on the model a bit. Even the RMSEA is quite high, it is 0.096. This has to be in the range of 0.05 to 0.7. So there is some problem with the model. So one way in which we can work on that is to have a look at the modification indices. Now once you look at the modification indices, you have to be very careful. So let us see what are the highest figures. So for example here, E13 and 14, they are that's a problem, because it is giving me a modification index of 53.52. So let us go back to the model and see whether we can do something about E13 and E14. So let's come back to E13 and 14. So E13 and E14, they are there on the same avoidance scale. So what we can do here is we can co-vary the error terms. And so let's just select E13 and E14 and let's correlate them. Similarly, going to the plugins and draw covariances. So I have co-varied that. Now let's run the estimate again. Let's come back to the model again. Come to view text, model fit. These things are now closer to 0.9, but still a lot needs to be done here, because this is 0.883, 0.861. So we need to increase here. The figure that we have to look here is C min by DF. So if it is less than 2, it's better. You come down to RMSEA, this is 0.081. So that again is something that has to be worked on. So let's go back to the modification indices again. So here, modification indices. So E12 and 13, they are also giving me a very good result, E12 and E13. So let's try and covary E12 and E13. E12 and E13. So I'll again firstly deselect it. Now select E12 and E13 and let's draw a covariance there using the plugin, draw covariances. Calculate the estimate again. Let's go back to the text, click here, view text. Chi-square has gone further down. Come back to model fit. Now we are on the right path, as we can see there. The NFI is 0.903, the CFI is 0.95, which is almost what we would require. A GFI is 0.879, and here we can see this is one figure, so this is 1.936. We are very close to what we wanted. We wanted it to be less than 2, so it's 1.936, which is quite good. RMSEA is also 0.069. We have to decide whether we stop here or whether we go further, because if we go to the estimates, you can see that some of these factor loadings are quite high, except for P16, it's 0.554. If you want, we have to kind of go to the modification indices again, and let's see if we can work on at least one more. So 16 and 17, as you can see here, this is providing me with another good result with a change of 22.819. So let us try and covary 16 and 17. 16 and 17, they are all on the avoidance scale. So select 16, select 17, plugins, draw covariances, calculate estimates. Let's see the results now. So chi-square is much improved now. Let's come to the model fit. Yes, this is very close to what you would want in a good fitting model. The NFI is 0.914, the CFI is 0.961, Cmin or the chi-square value divided by degrees of freedom is 1.73. The RMSEA is 0.61, which is excellent. So if you can see the EC values and all, they are very close to the saturated models. AIC also, this is all very close to the saturated models. So we can be happy with. If you want further, you can work on one of the other things, which is E10 and E15. So let us see E10 and E15. E10 and 15 are not possible because E10 loads onto hyperarousal and E15 loads onto avoidance. Let us see the standardized estimates now. So you can see the factor loadings are very high, and this is what you want. This is something that has been possible through AMOS. Under edit, we might need to go to copy to clipboard. Select all objects, edit, copy to clipboard, and then I can copy it on the Word file. So I will just need to open a Word file. I'll just need to Control V and I'll get this thing here. Here it is seen as a picture here, and I can redraw and add things or whatever. So this is possible here. Another thing that we can do here is to go back to the text of the estimates, and in the text I can copy whatever I need to. So for example, the model fit, if you come up and see here, there's copy to clipboard here. Copy to clipboard. If I copy this, I'll be able to paste it onto my Word file or whatever. Now I need to write these things down, all the fit measures and also the estimates of the regression weights and the factor loadings here. I'll have to, as you can see there, all of them are significant. I'll need to write it down in an APA format. I have already written it down here. I'll just show you how it looks like. So the proposed measurement model showed an acceptable fit to the data, chi-square this one, and we write down about the incremental fit indices, CFI, etc. Also the ones which are not good enough. So absolute fit indices were slightly weaker, and the parsimony adjusted fit indices, etc. If you have questions on these, you can write it down in the comment box and I'll try and address that. Maximum likelihood estimates indicated that all factor loadings were statistically significant. The ones that we already saw in the text there, they were all statistically significant, as you can see here, suggesting acceptable to strong indicator performance. Standardized loadings for hyperarousal ranged from this with PTSD 16. So these are the items, as you can understand. These are the questions of the PTSD scale. The latent factors were strongly correlated. Re-experiencing was strongly correlated with hyperarousal. So if we go here, you can see that these two factors are very strongly correlated. So using SPSS AMOS, we have been able to confirm that the PTSD is a 3-factor structure, and it can be measured by these 17 items. Re-experiencing can be measured by the first 5 items, avoidance by the next 7. The goodness of fit indices for the model is high, and so are the factor loadings. So this is a very convenient way of doing CFA. I'll be back with more such videos very soon.